Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Today we're going to be delivering our daily cryptocurrency market update. We're going to be going over a number of things off-chain as well as on-chain, certainly in regards to Bitcoin and the crypto space at large. We're not going to spend that much time looking at the external markets around us because we've done a lot of coverage on that in relation to the fact that we do face a headwind via the Federal Reserve. Talking about upping interest rates, and this of course has a negative impact typically over time on the markets as it causes this kind of squeeze of liquidity, if you will. So we're really going to focus on-chain. We've got some really interesting articles to cover with you. Yesterday we covered the fact that Intel were moving into the Bitcoin mining space. They were building a Bitcoin ASIC miner that they essentially claim is going to be very economically friendly or low energy or energy efficient, sorry. Today, we're going to go over a number of other articles, such as the fact that 300 small banks in the US set to offer Bitcoin trading in the second quarter of 2022. When I tell you guys that crypto is very early in terms of adoption, it's exceptionally early. And this is just some of what we have to come. We're also going to be covering a breaking headline. Bank of Russia calls for a full ban on cryptocurrency. I'm not sure if this is the spokesperson for banning crypto or the Bank of Russia, but banks, essentially crypto eliminates in many respects the whole need for a bank. So of course this potentially is an obvious thing that banks wouldn't be in favor of crypto necessarily, but we will talk about this. Is this likely to be something that Russia moves to do? We've heard previously that Russia have thought about banning crypto, or essentially gone down the route of potentially banning it and then backtracked. So this isn't something I'm worried about at all, but we will cover that. Also, Google continue to step into the cryptocurrency market and the crypto game. Google Pay hires PayPal exec to head up crypto payment push. And the reason that these banks, these 300 banks, people like Intel, Google Pay, are all moving towards offering and facilitating Bitcoin and soon larger cryptocurrency payments is because they see what I see, and that is the fact that crypto is still yet to be adopted and there's money to be made there. It's kind of like the gold rush in America. Some of the people that made the most amount of money from that wasn't the people that were actually digging for gold, but the people that were selling the shovels, and they know that. And this is another article that says 61% of Americans may purchase crypto in 2022, a new survey says. We did also show you that Canada had a similar survey, and you know, it's still very early. So let's get into this video, guys. Let's start, and we will of course look at a little bit of on-chain data. Let's start by looking at the overall markets. Very lackluster. Cardano is of course cooling off, but the general market isn't really moving in that much direction, and this reflects the uncertainty across markets at large, not just our precious crypto space. The fear and greed index is at 24, still an extreme fear. Better give that a like. And Bitcoin isn't really doing a lot. Now, there's a death cross. Something I failed to mention that I want to talk to you guys about in this video is, of course, the death cross that many people are talking about. Every time there's a death cross is caused by the 50 moving average crossing over the 200 moving average, which you can see over here has happened. And this typically, or what's the word I'm looking for? This historically in the traditional markets has signaled a bit of a downturn in markets. Now, this doesn't mean that much to me. This, of course, is the death cross that they are referring to. But we've had plenty of death crosses in the past. This is a golden cross or a bullish cross. Golden cross is what it's typically the technical name for it, I guess, which signals that you're going to get a bit of up movement. And this, of course, is the last time we had a death cross, certainly on the daily time frame, which lots of people are talking about. Now, the death cross typically, in my opinion and experience, will actually occur unless you have sort of a sudden catastrophic event like March 2020. And by that time, ladies and gentlemen, the bulk of the move had actually already taken place. So if you look at where the death cross actually occurred, you would already sold off significantly, and we're actually on the way to recovery. And the same thing sort of took place over here. If you look where the death cross actually occurred, you were already kind of typically the majority of the move, and you just had a little drizzle to come. And I think the same thing's going to play out today. And we have on this channel, let me remove the 20 EMA, which is the one I use because EMAs aren't the be all and end all. Remember, all these indicators, RSI, MACD, etc., are made for the traditional markets. Crypto works and moves in a different manner, and they don't often apply in such a correlated way. So this is, of course, the death cross that they're talking about. I would argue the majority of the move has already come, and we have been saying this structure over here, certainly this, is very similar to what's taking place here. And it's very likely, in my opinion, and we've said this from the second we sold off, that you consolidate before we go on to see new all-time highs. And I do absolutely believe, and this is why we show you all these kind of off-chain data points with companies getting in, governments moving towards it, whether it be Rio de Janeiro talking about adding 1% of their treasury in crypto, etc., because this is the way the world's moving, guys. And the markets, if you follow it and you don't understand what you're looking at, you're going to get shaken out of it. And markets are designed to do that. Not everybody can be rich. That's one of the most important things you can remember. And what I mean by that is really you've got to understand that they can't have everybody getting rich because they wouldn't be. If everyone was rich, who would be rich? It's kind of this whole equality and the fact that this idea that everyone's equal and the world is meant to be that way, in my opinion, is a myth. I think we are equal in the sense we're all human beings, but certain people are better at certain things than others. Certain people are worse. Certain people are born in this way, that way. There's a lot of variables to life that we can't quite control. So remember that, you've got to kind of focus on the bigger picture here. And in my opinion, that will really lead you to success. That's certainly something that I've done, and cryptocurrencies have changed my life, and I'm forever grateful. And that's why I'm making these YouTube videos. So the DXY is seeing a little bit of a downturn. Could be why Bitcoin's seeing a little bit of a pop-up. Remember, they are literally like a seesaw. And we'll put the EMA back on. So back to the death cross point. I'll very quickly finish this up. Potentially or historically, a death cross will occur after the majority of the down mood has actually taken place, and quite often, a recovery will ensue after that. So that was also the last death cross. Typically, you might see a little bit of downside, but we'll see how this plays out. But it's nothing to worry about, in my opinion, given the sort of off-chain data that we have. DXY, Ethereum following Bitcoin. Cardano kind of doing its own thing. Big day-to-day for Cardano as they have their first DEX launching. I'm going to be covering that in a later video and showing you how to do everything in regards to a DEX. I'll be playing around with a little bit of money, maybe £500 to £1,000 I'll put on and just show you how to do everything. Or 500 to 1,000, sorry, not 5,000. So this is one small bank, 300 small US banks set to offer Bitcoin trading in the second quarter of 2022. Extremely significant. This is the way everybody's moving. This is why PayPal offer it, etc., because there's money to be made there. And this is really a correlated article. 61% of Americans may purchase crypto in 2022. So why do you think these banks are moving to do that? Remember, Intel is also moving into the Bitcoin mining space. Google have and continue to dip their toe into crypto. Google Pay hires PayPal exec to head up crypto payment push. This is all coming, ladies and gentlemen, and given the fact that the market is in extreme fear, I mean, these people must not be looking at the same sort of news articles and the same technicals and fundamentals and on-chain analytics that I am. Otherwise, they wouldn't think so. MicroStrategy, we know Michael Saylor is a huge Bitcoin advocate. I think he's right in the sense that it's going to benefit companies more to hold Bitcoin than it is cash, because cash is trash. It was Ludwig von Mises that said historically, the government are the only people capable of taking a perfectly valuable commodity, i.e. paper, and making it worthless. And they've done this time and time again. We see that in a lot of the emerging nations, of course. Venezuela was a major example of that, and there are countries that seem to be following. We know Turkey's going through a lot of inflation at the moment. Bank of Russia calls for a full ban on crypto. Russia's central bank suggests making crypto trading, mining, and usage illegal. Good for them. At the end of the day, anybody that moves against the people for their own self-interests, in my opinion, will end up looking like this because it's negative. Now, that is, I don't know who this individual is. She may be a very well-respected banker, very well-respected economist. But of course, it's kind of like China banning Bitcoin. They do that because they have their own regime that they want people to stick to and follow. And Bitcoin really questions that and is an adversary to it in the sense that there's a lot more freedom attached with the monetary supply being generated by code, which everyone can understand and understand the rules that they're playing, or a central organization that can really do whatever they want with it, and i.e. affect everybody's life with the policies that they impose. So this isn't really, we've heard this from Russia before, we've heard it from India a million times now. It always turns out to be stretched from the truth. Remember, articles like CoinDesk, which I think are great, they're one of my go-tos, and of course Cointelegraph, they often will exaggerate things to get viewers. It's kind of like thumbnails on YouTube, and when you see all these people doing these weird and wonderful faces, in compromised positions, it's to attract viewers. Often the news or the video doesn't really reflect the energy portrayed in the thumbnail, but we're all guilty. Me personally, as a YouTuber, the idea with the thumbnail is to attract people to the video. So I'm not perfect, and I think that's one thing that human beings, if they all understood that we're all flawed in many ways, then we could maybe get along a little bit better. But that's an idealistic world that I don't think we'll achieve given our stubborn natures. This is the reserve risk, quantifies hodlers' conviction related to price signaling a buy. Now this is talking about the sort of risk, the reserve risk, so weighted by reserve risk. The dark green is overcooled, the green is cooled, neutral, heated, overheated. So you can see the top areas are typically overheated. We're currently in a green area, which of course is cooled. So there still is the possibility, and I'm not expecting this, but ready for it. You guys know that I'm going to be in crypto until I'm, I was going to say grey, but I'm definitely going to go bald before I go grey. Bald and old. I probably should say bald because that's probably not too many years away, but certainly older. So whatever happens on the short term for me is really irrelevant. I think crypto's or blockchain technology is on the same adoption path as the internet, but we're going to get adopted quicker and see it implemented faster, given the kind of more informative world that we live in, thanks to things like the internet. So I'm here for the long term. I think this technology is going to do absolutely fine. So we're at $2 trillion. I think this is extremely undervalued, and we're going to see a lot more to come out of it. So this suggests we're cooled, and this, of course, I'm happy to pick up. I've not bought Bitcoin in a long time, just simply because I got so much of it, or I got a significant amount at a far cheaper price, certainly in the bear market. And for me, I think that I'm going to get a higher ROI with altcoins. Yes, there's more risk attached, but I'm playing a risk and reward kind of game here. So that's really what I have for you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this one. It's a little bit later than typically we bring a video out, but I've just had a lot on. We've got lots going on, certainly in the Cardano ecosystem, preparing a lot of videos for you to release later on. So thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the content, like us, I would appreciate it. So is a comment. Remember to head over to my Twitter, guys. @RealAllInCrypto is my handle. I'd like to get to 10,000 followers on Twitter soon, so you guys can help me on that journey. And then maybe we'll think about doing a giveaway or something. Thank you very much for watching, guys.